Welcome back to Check This Bookout, everybody. I'm
Yes.
Madeline Bookout, long distance survivor.
I was literally going to say that.
Well, you haven't survived yet.
I am surviving.
You're long distance thriving. Okay, well, we're both long distance survivors then.
Yeah, I'm having a book out. I guess I'll say long distance. No, I don't thrive.
Oh,
in long distance.
I think you are.
No.
I think you're doing okay.
I guess, yeah.
I think you're fine. Long distance, fine.
Long distance, fine.
You can also be a survivor.
Okay. Yeah.
We're Madeline and Hannah Bookout, long distance
survivors.
It sounds like we're doing long distance together.
And this is Check This Book Out, where we talk a lot of fantasy and romance novels. And today we clearly are talking about romance.
Yes, we are going to be doing a deep dive of Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, which came out
April 1st?
April 1st, 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, almost exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're gonna just jump right into it.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about this one. I kind of had to refrain myself from talking to you.
Yeah, we're big Abby Jimenez fans here. We love
Mhm.
her. We love her stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, without further ado, you want to talk about our ratings first?
Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it at the same time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to
Oh,
think about my rating.
I am too. That's
Okay.
why I'm hesitating.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Right, ready?
3, 2, 1.
4.5.
Whoa.
That's kind of a difference.
That's a big difference. That's a
Yeah.
whole star.
Yeah.
Dang, you really liked this
I
one.
did. I did.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll
Well,
get into it. I'll get into it.
yeah, I think that I knew that you were going to like this one more than me.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like it was more relatable for you.
That is exactly why.
Yeah. But yeah, and anyways, I just had a stroke. Yeah, in my review, like just to give, well, should we start with a high level of like what the book is about?
Sure.
Probably.
Yeah. This is a part of Abby Jimenez's medical romance, and this was about a veterinarian and a marketer, social media marketer.
Do you really consider it a part of that series?
Yeah, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
It doesn't say. You know how like in
Is Friend Zone medical too?
No.
Oh,
But it's not, I don't think it's technically a part of the interconnected standalone, is it?
it's the main character, Samantha, was literally in Just for the Summer.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Who is she?
Do you remember, like, that one scene where... Okay, I don't remember the characters' names from Say You'll Remember Me, or from Just for the Summer, but they saw this, like, lady sitting at a bus stop and she looked very confused. It was Samantha's mom.
Wait, wasn't Just
It was,
for
like,
the
literally a
Summer?
page. It was, like,
But
less than a
wasn't
page.
Just for the Summer in
Michigan.
Michigan?
Yeah.
But her mom never lived in Michigan.
Maybe it was when he visited her in California.
Who? The guy in Just for the Summer?
Yeah.
He visited her in California?
I think so. I don't know, but literally Abby Jimenez said it. Like,
She did. I mean, I
yes.
believe you. I believe
Yeah.
you. I just didn't put it together at all.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's all in the same city.
Yeah.
I just didn't even, because you know how normally even if it's an interconnected standalone, in parentheses it will say like the series name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that, well, let's check right now. Part of your world.
It doesn't say.
I don't want to take it out, but okay, well, I'm gonna have to verify that.
I mean, it makes sense.
No, it does make sense. It didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah. I had seen on social media where Abby Jimenez, like, verbatim said, like, you guys have met Samantha before.
Okay. You're probably right. It probably wasn't the most recent one, Just for the Summer. So,
Yes, that for sure.
wow.
Yeah, so basically it follows a vet and this other woman who does social media marketing, and they meet at his clinic and their love story unfolds from there.
Yeah.
And
They meet with a kitten in her bra.
yeah.
I thought that was really weird, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Um, and unfortunately, this is probably where we're gonna start getting into spoiler territory. So
Go read it and then come back
yeah.
and listen to this ep.
And if you're anti-trope, I'm sorry, but we're about to say some because I don't know. It
It does, I guess it helps a
for
little
people
bit.
that have read the book already, who I assume are listening to this episode, it's not going to bother you. I
Yeah,
assume.
it's not, it wouldn't spoil if you've already read it.
Yeah. I hate when tropes spoil, but at this point, spoiler warning. See y'all next week.
Mhm.
But yeah, this romance is a long distance romance, and yeah,
It's kind of insta love. Actually, it definitely is insta love,
yeah, yeah.
I would say.
I would say so too. Except for the fact that like a month passes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like time gaps in this book.
There are there are a lot of time jumps. I think the whole
Yeah,
thing takes place over what?
a
A
year.
year?
Yeah,
At least, maybe
yeah.
even a year and a half. Um, yeah. Do we want to start with characters or plot?
Let's start with characters. Let's
Okay.
start with Samantha.
Okay.
My first impression of Samantha, I listened to the audiobook and like I loved it. I loved the narrator for Samantha. So
Oh,
like I just
really?
immediately fell in love with her
It was
character.
dual, like two
Mhm.
narrators.
Two narrators like in the same chapter. Um yeah, I loved Samantha. I thought she was super funny. I think she could be frustrating at times, but like homegirl was going through a lot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
She's level-headed and like in a romance, that's kinda like, you want them to be like, "Okay, but, like, you're trying to fall in love, just, like, whatever." But, like, she's a
She was
very l
super
yeah,
practical.
she was very practical and smart and responsible.
She honestly was not a hopeless romantic.
She was not,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
you're
would say
right.
that Xavier was more than her.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
which sucks. I thought it was super funny that she worked at a mustard company.
Yeah, that was funny.
And I thought that her job in general was pretty good. One thing, well, maybe that's kind of getting into plot. I won't go there yet. I thought that she was a little boring, personally. Like for me, she was. I like other characters that Abby Jimenez has written better. Um, what? You
If you
disagree?
wanna talk about boring female characters, Just for the Summer.
Uh,
I don't even remember her name.
I don't either. I didn't. That was not my favorite out of that one.
No, she
No.
had no she her only personality trait was trauma. Sorry, off track, but yeah.
Yeah. I didn't. She wasn't like awfully boring. Like I did like her, but um, I don't know. The family thing was just like such a huge part of her identity.
Mhm.
And so I didn't feel like I got to know her much outside of that.
That's
I
fair.
didn't know like I feel like we didn't really know any of her hobbies. Like
Yeah.
what kind of music did she like? Did she like to read? Like it was just her job and taking care of her mom, which her mom, for those of you that, I mean, it's a huge part of the book, but her mom has early onset dementia. So, yeah, I just didn't feel like we got to know her very well. And I didn't really feel like we got to know Xavier very well either.
I was very much just sort of focused on their love story
Yeah.
and a huge part of like Samantha's family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I have to sneeze real quick.
bless you.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. Just not my favorite Abby Jimenez character in general.
Okay.
Liked her, but meh.
Okay.
And I think a huge part of that does have to do with the time skip.
Yeah.
And I think a huge part of it has to do with the dual POV. Were her other was Just for the Summer series part of your world? Were those dual POV too?
Yeah.
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 Um, I enjoyed Samantha's character, but you're right. I'm realizing she didn't have any qualities or like character traits outside of her family and outside of her job and Xavier.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the music though, there was like that music kind of hobby,
He
but that was more
yeah,
Xavier's
he was putting together playlists for
for her.
her.
Yeah.
But that's just like an example,
Can I say like a super short like off track thing?
Yeah.
At the end of the book, Abby Jimenez like gave us the playlist that Xavier made for
Wait,
the
she did?
anniversary. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
in the audiobook, it was like reading out the list, and I hadn't like quite like gone to, like pause it yet. And the second book or the second song was oh my gosh, why am I literally blanking on the title?
Who's it by?
The Aces.
Oh, you really like them, right?
Yeah, I do. Oh, Stop Feeling. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that song. Like I loved it. Like it was from like college. And I went back and played it and like I've been like listening to that album like
Mm.
nonstop again. So that was fun. But the song to me kind of didn't really fit a playlist that you would give someone on their anniversary.
Anniversary.
It's
Maybe
kind
it
of
was
like
just
a
like a
depression song. Like it's very upbeat, but it's like
sad
I don't
message.
know how to stop this feeling, so I'm just gonna stop feeling. Like that's the main
Oh,
line.
okay.
It's a good song though.
Well, I
Like
feel like that's kind of indicative of their relationship though.
yeah, like in the early stages, but like for the
Yeah.
anniversary though,
Yeah.
I was like,
Hmm.
okay, but yeah, it slaps.
Yeah.
Like it's a good song.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving
That
on.
is a I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to go look at it now. Maybe
Mhm.
I just probably didn't get past the author's note or anything.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Wanna talk about Xavier?
yeah. Xavier, I also liked. Um, I
Oh my
can't talk
god.
about Xavier without talking about the elephant in the room.
It's a big ass elephant too.
Can Rhysand needs to stay in his own fucking lane. Like, who? Why are we talking about fucking Rhysand in a book that's not like literally A Court of Thorns and Roses? I literally gagged.
Yeah, it was
In
not cute.
I gagged and I had to stop the book and I was driving and I literally was just like,
Yeah.
no way did she just do that.
It wasn't funny the first time.
Nope,
It wasn't funny the second time.
nope,
It wasn't funny the third time.
nope,
It wasn't funny the fourth time.
nope.
It was I was I was flabbergasted by the fact that she mentioned it like so many
So many
times
times.
within such a short period of time. Literally within 10 pages, I think I
Yes.
counted.
No,
Well,
maybe 2 chapters.
yeah, it felt like 10 pages.
But no, and it wasn't even the same character saying it over and over again. It was different female characters saying that he looked like
Yes.
Rhysand, the coworkers, and Samantha, and whoever else. I can't remember.
Yeah,
the
her
other person.
sister.
Yeah, her sister.
Yeah. It
Ugh.
just wasn't.
Ugh.
Hannah and I talked about this a little bit about how romance books sometimes lean a little bit too much on pop culture references.
Yeah.
And this definitely was one of those scenarios.
Yes.
And it was cringe.
Yes.
Like I literally had a physical, visceral reaction to that.
Mm-hmm. I could handle the whole like Instagram account, social media manager. That to me was fine. But like when we're talking about like TikTok trends, like, oh, I saw this TikTok trend, we should do it or whatever. I was like, huh. And then the Resand thing, that was way too much. That was too far.
Yeah, yeah. And he also went like viral on TikTok or something at one point in the
Oh
book.
yeah.
That was really weird
That was
too.
weird.
That was probably when they other comments about him being like Resand was in the comments of the TikTok.
Yes.
Yeah, it was just bizarre and it wasn't necessary. Like I would have cringed if it was only in there one time, but I was really like, wow, I can't believe that we're doing this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love you, Abby, but that was just
That was not it.
let's not do that again.
No.
Let's not do that again. Even if it had been about like Rowan or something, I still would be saying this.
Yes.
You know?
Any other fictional character. Like, no.
Ew, imagine if somebody did that with Xaden.
Ew.
Ew.
Oh. Mm.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
please stop.
I think that's
Also, describe your own character. You don't need
yeah,
to use RHYSAND. Like, just
yeah.
describe your own character.
Also, RHYSAND has wings, bro.
And purple
Does
eyes
Xavier have wings?
and
Like,
pointed ears.
oh gosh. Yeah,
Oh, so
it
cringe.
was it was it was not great.
Oh
But
gosh.
and I feel like I also didn't think that the way that she described his appearance really matched his character. Like to me, he kind of was a blonde. I pictured him as blonde, I think.
No, to me he was tall, dark, handsome.
Mm,
Cause he's kind of moody.
that's true. That's true. In general, let's not go there. It's
Yeah.
also a super easy and fast way to date your book. I don't really
Yes.
understand why romance authors would want to do that,
Mhm.
you know? You I would think that you would want your book to be a little bit timeless. If
Mhm.
that so that somebody could go back and read it and not think, "Oh wow, this book is literally 2025."
Yeah.
You know? Um but anyways, I guess we can move on from that. That was that was whole half star off for me. I'm not even gonna lie.
That was why I gave mine half off. Like
Really?
the modern day
References?
references was too much.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I guess she had that in her in Just for the Summer too, but it wasn't as cringy.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah. Anyway, Xavier in general, I I enjoyed him as a character, but I hate the way other characters described him. Like, you look so scary and intimidating, like you're so tall and frowning. I'm like, I don't like see him that way.
Yeah, I didn't
It did not
either.
match his personality and the way he treated Samantha and like the way all the side characters like loved him and immediately like Samantha's family loved him. Like he didn't give off this like scary first impression.
Intimidating person, yeah.
Yeah, that was never yeah. No, like her sister, for example, like if you wanted him to be scary on first impression, like you should have had like the siblings be like, Smith, are you sure? Like he kind of seems
Yeah.
dangerous. Like, no, they immediately loved him and stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm
Like,
with you on that. I it also was kind of, like, interesting that that was a part of, like, his business reviews, is people were saying that he had bad, like, bedside manner. Like, if he had bad bedside manner, people would not be coming back to him,
mm-hmm.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, his business wouldn't be successful if that was the
Yeah.
case. And he has, like, a really good group of friends.
Yeah.
He has a big group of friends. That was one thing that actually oh, that was one thing that actually really bothered me about Samantha, is that she literally had no friends,
Huh.
and she never made any effort to make friends, and I understand she was busy with her mom, but, like,
You're right.
she moved home. There had to have been other people
Well, she
that
did mention it once.
yeah, but there had to have been people that I guess part of it must have been the, like, as we said, that it focused so much on their relationship and the long distance, like, but both of them felt so isolated throughout the book.
Yeah, that's very true.
And that's part of the reason why I don't feel like I really got to know them, is because I think that you can learn a lot about the main characters through their relationships
With
with
others.
others, and you didn't get to see that really at all.
Mm-hmm. You saw it mostly with like the sister and like their
Yeah,
relationship.
but even then, like, just
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a really good point. I'm just not realizing that.
Yeah, neither of them like well, and Xavier did have friends, but
Yeah.
he never saw them. He was working 80-hour weeks.
That's not true.
Yeah, he
They
was.
did their cabin trip and they went on
No,
the first date with them.
he didn't get to go on the cabin trip.
No, there was another cabin trip.
Oh, at the very
Yeah, they
end?
go 3 times a year. It wasn't the Christmas one, it was one before. Like they had done one before.
Oh, with Samantha there?
No,
Oh, yeah,
like with
yeah.
his friends.
Yes, yeah, but she, like, didn't have any friends, and that was kind of, like, weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah, that is weird.
They were both very isolated,
Yeah.
it felt like. And it was
Hmm.
also an interesting dichotomy because Xavier had no family, and that's all that Samantha had was her family,
Mhm.
you know? So,
Yeah. Huh.
I also like Xavier's trauma was interesting too,
Mhm.
but I guess we're kind of getting into plot. Do we want to talk about their relationship or do we want to talk about plot?
Let's talk about relationship real
Okay.
quick. So mostly it's the plot, right?
Yeah, no, literally. I don't think you're gonna like what I'm gonna say.
It's okay.
I don't feel like
Nothing's gonna hurt my feelings.
I don't think they knew each other.
Really?
Well, okay. It's not that they don't know each other, but like the insta love, I'm just not a fan of insta love.
Yeah.
I think that they had like a good chemistry, but even by the time when they fully got together at the end, they'd only spent like 10 full days with each other.
10 full days?
Kinda.
No.
Okay, it was probably 15.
No.
Bro, they only visit each other like 4 times in the whole book.
He was there for like a whole week for Christmas. That's not true.
Okay. I'll give him 5 days for Christmas. But like by the time that they said I love you, they had only visited each other like 3 or 4 times. Another thing that bothered me about their relationship is how like literally they could never win. And that's part of the reason why they never saw each other,
Mhm.
you know? Neither of them could win.
In my review, I literally said like long distance is very hard. You and I both know this.
Mhm.
It sucks at times. And I think this book did a very good job at portraying how much it sucks. And therefore, I I literally like wrote like this could not have this is not a popular type of relationship to write because one, yeah, the characters are very often not with each other. And this was like a long, long, long distance, right? And it's yeah, they're spending so much time apart and it's hard to it's a sad kind of dynamic. So to me, this is not a popular love story type that you're wanting to write and it wouldn't sell very well as like a romance like everyone loves and adores. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I think people in long distance relationships could appreciate this book, which is like that's how I thought about it. And it more was a book that was like gonna tug on your heartstrings and
Yeah,
kind
for
of like
sure.
a ode to that type of relationship and to the people that experience it and can relate. But if you don't relate or if you were looking for like a happy love story, you weren't going to enjoy this.
Yeah. In my review, I said something similar, like my favorite thing about this book was the way that Samantha's family struggled with dementia
Mhm.
and how that impacted their family. That was my favorite part because as you said, like the relationship, it's not your typical romance in the sense that you're going to be like
Kicking your feet and
yeah, you're
giggling.
not going to get that at all.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever did.
Yeah, me
There
neither.
was not a single moment where I was like, "Oh my gosh, this banter,"
Yeah.
you know? Um like I still liked them as a couple and I could relate a little bit to the long distance. It just as I said, they couldn't win. Like they were missing each other every single time. Um like not being able to afford the flights, like aside from that, but like him being sick and then them literally flying to see each other at the same time,
Yeah.
like her losing her job.
Mhm.
There were just all of these different reasons why they kept not being able to see each other and like those barriers were so frustrating as a reader
Mhm.
and they didn't feel realistic to me very much either.
See, I thought it did seem very realistic. I mean, you and I can't speak well, more so me than you, like we can't really speak to what it would be like to be long distance, different states first of all, and working full-time jobs. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So their dynamic is different than ours.
But them like trying to surprise each other and flying to different cities, like the likelihood that that happens. And I understand this is not supposed to be a fully realistic scenario in general, but um I guess I'm also farther away from long distance. Like you're in the middle of it. It's been 3 years since I've done long distance now, so I just couldn't relate as much. And it wasn't similar enough. I will keep coming back to it. I think it was really just the insta love for me.
That would bothered you so
Yeah.
much? I do think
It was the insta love
yeah.
and then she immediately left.
Yeah.
Like if she had been there for a month and they had gotten to know each other, like if they hadn't just had one date, it just felt very dramatic.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the whole thing was kind of dramatic in
Yeah.
general.
It was like, "Oh my gosh, like I just met you. We went on one date and granted spent 10 hours together on said date and I moved the next day." And like the pining just it did not that did not feel relatable. After they got to know each other and them missing each other in between visits, like that is absolutely relatable.
Mhm.
That really sucks in long distance. Like that's obviously like some of the worst parts.
Mhm.
But for me, it was like, oh, we met each other. It's like we're instantly in love, and then she's moving the next day, and you're already like missing her like you've been in a relationship for 3 years. I think that's what bothered me.
I get it. I guess that was kind of a convenience of writing it, writing the story.
Yeah.
I get it. It
Yeah.
didn't bother me that much, so
Yeah.
I probably enjoyed it more.
Yeah. That was like if the RHYSAND thing was a point 0.5 star deduction, this would be like a 1 star deduction for me.
Okay.
Just because I didn't really connect with their relationship that much, which is sad because I did do long distance for so long.
Yeah.
I thought it would be more. I mean, I didn't know what that's what it was about going into it, but
Mhm.
um
I guess to me, like, yes, they went on that one date and they instantly clicked or whatever, and it was kind of like that insta love, but they didn't see each other again for over a month. So to me, it wasn't like super bad, like, I have to fly now, like, I have to see you, like, it wasn't as cringy,
mhm,
so I guess for me, that
mhm.
kind of softened the blow.
Yeah. I will say though, and this is so I originally rated this book 3 stars. What gave me the extra half star back, the freaking like passage where they talk about witnessing each other's lives. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Abby, you fucking killed it.
yeah, that was
I
beautiful.
mean, seriously.
Yeah,
I literally was crying for that whole like page. It was horrible how lovely it was.
yeah,
It killed me.
yeah. I think that is what was my favorite part about this book.
Yeah.
That whole concept of being witness to somebody else's life and how much that sucks during long distance.
Mhm.
And like making effort to make every single memory and like remembering it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was I
I
was
honestly kinda wanna read it.
yeah, I mean,
No, I
I don't
kind of
have the ebook.
I don't I do, but should I get up and get my phone?
Sure.
I literally used this passage in a toast for, like, my best friend's getting married because I finished the book on Wednesday. Friday, Nolan and I gave a toast for my best friend getting married, and we read this out loud because it could not have been more perfect.
Mhm.
Um, oh my gosh, it was just so good. Sorry.
No, I mean, I would love to hear it again.
It's gonna make me tear up, I swear. Okay. There is nothing more beautiful than being a witness to somebody's life, to know them inside and out and be with them through everything. Share the same memories. Memories are everything. I want that. I want someone who knows everything there is to know about me, and I want to know everything about them. I want to be able to say one out of context comment to someone, and they get what it means, and they laugh, and it's just some stupid joke from like 11 years ago that means nothing to anyone else. I want a lifetime of that. I want to be able to talk about my family, and they know what I mean without me having to give the backstory. There's this other part too. Oh, it's the result of a parallel life, a shared collection of experiences, like a snowball rolling downhill, getting bigger as it goes. And then you get to a point where you're so far in, you can never replace that person. Not really. No one else can ever be the same kind of witness because you've lived through so much. It literally is a once in a lifetime thing. So true.
So good.
It's so good. And after like I'm Nolan and I, wow, we didn't even really celebrate or but Nolan and I just hit 9 years. And
Mm,
like that is so true because it's those moments that you have together from literally the first year that we started dating. And like
mhm.
I can say one thing to him and he knows exactly what I'm talking about. And it's like one of my favorite things about being in a relationship.
Mhm.
Like, holy crap.
Yeah. That is what made this book so meaningful to
Yeah.
me, is that line. Is
Yeah.
that it is so special to have somebody so close to you like that and to, like, know
Mhm.
everything about you, and
And I think it applies to like relationships in general, not
yeah,
just, you
like you
know,
and me.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like that's such a blessing that you get to have that with people.
Mhm.
And the way that it was acknowledged and it's not something I've ever thought about or been able to or like even thought about wanting to put into words.
Mhm.
Ugh,
Yeah.
it's freaking gorgeous.
That was clearly, like, Abby's inspiration for this whole book is that concept, and
Mhm.
she did it very well. Like, that want for that parallel life, but not being able to have it,
Mhm.
um, it hurt so much because everybody wants that. Everybody wants that parallel life kind of thing, and, like, to be a witness to somebody else's life and have somebody be a witness to yours, and they couldn't have that, and so that's why kinda going back to my earlier point is, like, that's a really hard book to read.
It really I think I even said that in one of my status updates. I said this book is really hard to read,
Yeah,
especially with the way that like that line or that concept also ties into like the dementia aspect,
yeah.
which I think is probably part of where it was coming from for
Mhm,
Samantha. Like that's I think they're talking about her mom's dementia and then she like leads into saying I want people to be able to witness my life the way
mhm,
that I've witnessed my mom's even though she doesn't remember it, like
mhm,
I remember it for her.
mhm.
Um yeah, I can't get over that. Now I'm like thinking about it more. I'm like maybe I should get put bumper up to 4 stars cuz
Yeah,
that part was just so good.
yeah. It I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, so I'm kinda sticking more to that because you bring up some good points about what I didn't like, which is funny. But, yeah, I don't know. This book just hurt so good. That's, like, the shortest and best way I can,
Yeah.
like, think to describe it is that it was so heartbreakingly good.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not I mean there it isn't it does have like a happily ever after,
Mhm.
but like for a majority of the book it's not. Like it is not a happy book.
Yeah.
And even in the end I was not like it still hurt all the way to the end.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there was an epilogue, but in the last 10
Yeah.
pages, like I was crying so hard in the
Mhm.
last 10 pages. Um, but do we want to get into plot? That being said,
Yeah.
okay.
Let's
So I guess we can talk about like two sides. We can talk about Samantha's family stuff going on,
Mhm.
and we could also talk about Xavier's
Xavier's
family stuff going on.
yeah.
The dementia thing was really hard. Like
It's really hard to
it was
read.
really hard to read. And I think that especially for people who have like had family members with dementia, it honestly there should come like with a trigger warning at the beginning of this book. And maybe there was
There was
one.
one,
Yeah,
yeah.
there was one. So um I don't really read trigger warnings
Me neither, because
because
they're
I
kinda
don't care.
spoilers.
Yeah. And I also don't really care. I'm like,
I don't really get triggered.
yeah. I mean I kind of did, but like in a good way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah. That was really tough because if you can relate to it on a deeper level, it's also hard to watch other families experience it. because you
Mhm.
just have that empathy for them. And the hardest part for me to read was watching them struggle with like what to do.
Mhm.
And I think I said in my Goodreads review, I'm like, I didn't really agree with the way that they handled it personally. Um, but I love the way that it was accurately portrayed.
Like the dementia itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't really agree with all of her family's decisions, you know?
Mhm. The biggest decision that I was like, "Why are y'all doing that?" was decorating the house, like redoing the house.
Yeah.
Why would you disrupt what she knows, you
Yeah, it
know?
felt like a manic break for their
Yeah.
family.
Like that felt random to me
Mhm.
and unnecessary. And also like if you have a family member with dementia, you wouldn't
Don't
want to
disturb their environment
yeah,
like
like
that.
and the mom knew that environment very well. It was her childhood home. Like don't yeah, that to me made no sense
Yeah, and I think that they realized that
after.
afterwards. They were like, "Why the hell did we do that? Now we have no money."
Yeah.
Um, it was an interesting add to the story. Like, I was
Yeah.
now I'm kind of processing it and thinking, "What value
Yeah.
did that add?"
It didn't really.
Yeah. I mean, except for the fact that I was like, "Y'all are dumb as hell."
And it was like I guess it added to like the money kind of overall
Yeah.
theme in this book. And
I this is actually part of what bothers me is that it was so clear that they were unable to acknowledge how unequipped they were to take care of somebody with dementia.
yeah,
Like,
that was
and this is
frustrating.
probably like one of the reasons why I disagree. And as I said, if you have a family member or know somebody who's has a family member that struggled with dementia, like that these are really hard decisions to make, and like watching mom and her siblings make that decision with
Mhm.
papa, like them getting a live-in caretaker with him for him, like somebody who knows how to deal with patients with dementia.
Mhm.
I think that personally like really improved his quality of life.
Mhm.
And even though Samantha like lost her job and was able to spend a lot of time with her mom, like she didn't know what she was doing.
Yeah.
And that can be scary.
Mhm.
So that was one thing where I was like, it really bothered me that they didn't like pursue proper care.
And like educate themselves
Yes.
like on how to interact with her and take care of her properly.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was frustrating. Like there were things like they forgot to feed her the night before or something. Or you know, like she fell in the shower. Like things like that. Like you don't realize how hard it is to take care of somebody
Mhm.
um like that. Yeah.
Mhm. And they screwed themselves by doing the renovations because they probably could have hired somebody or sent her to a facility.
Yeah.
And I understand that those are probably like mistakes that they had to learn from, but they kind of didn't. They like made those mistakes and then still chose to take care of her at home.
Mhm.
And I was like, I think the dad was probably the one who said it, or maybe it was one of the siblings, but they wouldn't. I mean, I'm trying to think of it from the if that someday like I got dementia and my future kids or like my family members like had to take care of me, I wouldn't want them to see me like that, you know?
Mhm.
Or at least like to have to like on a daily basis like learn how to take care of somebody with that because it's traumatizing.
Mhm.
It really is. It's traumatizing.
It consumes your entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like who wants to like watch their parents forget them?
Yeah.
Like, you can still be a part of their life and add value to what life and memories they have left without giving up your life,
Mhm.
especially dementia. Like, dementia is a long disease.
It is.
It it is a long disease.
Mhm.
So, that also kind of bothered me. That was another reason why I was so sad. Like, that was it was heartbreaking to watch them decide to do that to themselves.
Yeah. When the dad finally said, "I think it's time to put your mother in a facility," and everyone was like, "No, we promised we wouldn't." Like, it was a really hard conversation to read because we had continually been watching each sibling fail to properly take care of the mom, and the dad finally spoke up and advocated for the
Mhm.
mom, and they it was selfish. They were
They were
selfish.
being
They were
selfish.
being selfish. I can't do that. Like, I don't want to do that to her. And it was how they felt about putting her in a home, and like their guilt about putting her in like a dementia
They weren't
facility.
thinking about her.
Yeah, they weren't thinking about like her mental health, her physical health, like the specialized care she could have received, you
Mhm.
know?
And also, and every family is different, but I could not imagine a world where, like, for example, if mom got dementia, where she would want me to give up a job opportunity like that when she could be, like, working that job to pay for memory care.
Mhm.
I don't know. There were a lot of decisions where I, like, could see why they did it the way they
Mhm.
did, but then I'm like, "Wow, that really makes me think about how I would handle this situation, or, like, how I would want my family to handle this situation if it ever happened to me."
Yeah.
Um,
I think this family in the book was very blessed to have like such a close family and the resources to all live in the same house
mhm.
and all be able to financially pitch in and take shifts or whatever. But it also was completely unrealistic. None of them had jobs.
Yeah.
Like, there was no, like, they were all always home. You know what I mean? Or except the dad would go to work, but you don't know how long he was there or whatever. But the brother didn't have a job. The sister, maybe she had a job, but like she never went anywhere.
That's a really fair point.
And she had two sons to take care of also.
Yeah. I
And
don't know
like,
how
what
they
kind
were
of life?
surviving, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I was like, what kind of life are you giving your two sons? You know what I mean? Like, if you're devoting all your money and resources to your mom. So
Yeah.
to me, it wasn't a very realistic picture of how a family can function. Like, to have that kind of family is I feel like a very rare,
Super
a
rare.
super rare, like, gift from God to be able to take care of your family member with dementia all on your own. Like, if, for example, in like our family, we would never be able to do that. All of us living in the same house, all of us taking shifts to take care of
No,
someone.
literally doing that for mom's hip surgery was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
like,
that
that's a
alone.
similar it's a similar, experience.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. That's just as I said, this was my favorite part about this book because even as I said, even though I didn't agree with all of the
Mhm.
way they handled things, like, it was a really, for the most part, accurate picture of the struggle that a family goes through when this happens.
Yes.
Moving on a little bit from that, but tangentially related, what the fuck was her dad doing?
Oh, yeah. To be honest, I was kinda like, "Yeah, fair enough." Like, as gross as it might seem and, like, their siblings' reaction was totally valid, I also was like, "Yeah." But I did not expect the siblings to accept it. I will be honest, I did not
The
I thought
brother didn't, right?
the brother didn't at first.
I didn't. I thought it was weird. Like, yeah. The way that he, like, talked about it, I think is what was really weird. He was like, it's not your business how I, like, blow off steam." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Dude, that's gross."
Yeah, it was
I was
gross.
like, "You really could be, like, out playing basketball with your friends, like, not lying to your kids." Like, that's why I thought it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I was like, "You're gonna take all the time off from, like, assisting your wife to cheating on your wife?"
Yeah.
Or, like, and it never said whether it was, like, a relationship or him just, like, hooking up with
Yeah, with
people.
people.
Like, it didn't really divulge much information. Um, but I just thought that was like, "Whoa." It was very bizarre. And they waited so long to address it. Like, if would feel like if your dad was leaving in the middle of the night at all, like, you would get suspicious much sooner than
Much
that.
sooner, yeah. I guess they just never expected it. I don't know. I guess that was Abby Jimenez's way of kind of saying that like people cope in complicated ways, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And it was kind of gross and like, hello?
But
That's-
I do understand it.
yeah, I understand it to its core.
Yeah,
Um,
but it was very bizarre.
it was. Yeah.
And I think that both reactions, like Tristan, I think is the brother's name, like
Mhm.
his reaction was valid,
Mhm.
but then so was Samantha and I don't remember what the sister's name was.
Wasn't it like Jessamine or
Yeah,
something?
just yeah.
Jasenia? No,
No, what is that from?
I don't know. Oh, that's from Fourth Wing.
um, yeah, it was just a little weird.
Yeah, I
Was
kind of overlooked that, to be honest.
another layer to like complicate the family situation, and then not to mention that the grandma dies.
Oh my gosh, that was so sad.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The dad in general was a very interesting character, and I feel like often was kind of like this scapegoat to be upset with because like he was the one that like felt like he needed to put her in memory care. He was the one that, you know, was basically cheating on his wife to cope, and he was the one that didn't tell anybody that he that the grandma was dying. Like he kind of was, I don't know.
Yeah. He had a very interesting way of handling the whole situation
Yeah.
from start to finish.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I thought his point, he went in that conversation where they have like that come to Jesus moment when he's telling his kids like you don't actually understand what it means to take care of your mother, and he looks at Samantha and he's like you doing her freaking makeup every day, you think that's actually contributing to her care? I
Yeah.
was like, yeah,
Yeah.
seriously. It's just another way that like they were being selfish.
Yeah.
It was painful for her to not remember her mom the way that she used to look, and so she was giving herself something back.
Mhm.
But
That's a really good point. Yeah. Altogether, a very interesting plot. It's like side plot and family dynamic.
mhm,
But it was so thought provoking.
it really was.
And obviously, like, we're having really good discussion about it.
We've been
So,
talking about it for like 30 minutes.
yeah. So, props to Abby Jimenez for giving something that I think really was worth reading and talking about.
Mhm. I agree. I also we can also touch on like Xavier's family stuff too.
Downright sad and depressing,
Yeah,
first of all.
very hard also. Could relate to that a little bit less.
Yeah.
Um but the thing with the dogs, oh my gosh.
That was actually awful to read.
Yeah, it kind of made me nauseous.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, but the way that the doctor um or the vet ended up like working in his clinic,
Yeah. That was very sweet.
I really liked that. Kind of
Yeah.
like a full circle moment.
Mhm.
That was that was really nice.
Yeah. It kind of was like that. You know how Abby Jimenez kind of uses like magic realism a tiny bit? She more so did in like her first book in this series. Like that to me was kind of like her like magic realism moment where it's like
Mhm.
it was kind of magical to read. I don't know if that's chuggy to say, but
No, it kind of
it
was.
was very
It
sweet
was
and
like
like
too coincidental
yeah,
like
like
and
too good to be true.
yeah, so perfect. It
Yeah,
was
so
perfect.
perfect.
Yeah, I know. I really liked that. I thought that was really sweet. Um yeah, I kind of in the end he gives up his practice sort of to go be with her. I find that predictable. I kept waiting for it to happen. I was
Yeah.
like, "Dude, come on. Like eventually you're going to realize
Yeah.
like people do that all the time. Like small businesses fail all the time." Not saying that you should make it fail on purpose, but he would survive that. And so I'm glad that he finally acknowledged it.
Mhm.
But I understand that that would have been a hard decision, and it makes sense that it took him a year, you know?
Yeah, for to me, it honestly doesn't make sense that it took him a year, just considering how much, like, he was head over heels for her, but, I mean, realistically, yeah.
Yeah, they were just kind of putting themselves in this impossible position.
Yeah. They kind of mm, I don't know. They were both kind of stubborn and, like, meeting each other halfway. Like, somebody was going to have to give up everything, which is kind of hard. Like, he was gonna have to give up his entire vet practice, or she was gonna have to give up living with her mom, which was never going to happen. So it
Yeah,
was just, like, waiting for Xavier to make
make
that
his
jump,
move.
and we always knew it was gonna be him because he was the one that was chasing her from the beginning. You know what I mean? It was just,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And
waiting.
I think that the hard thing for me to understand was making a commitment to do this long distance relationship knowing that there was no outcome. Like, here's the way I see it. The mature maybe it's not even the mature thing to do, but what I would think that I would do in that situation is say like, "Hey, we really wanna make a relationship work. Let's figure out how we're gonna make it work before we, like, dive right in." They could have said, like, "Let's explore our options, even if we don't end up choosing them, but, like, let's at least see if it's even a possibility for you to move your practice here
Mhm.
or to give up your practice in Michigan." Like, that really was surprising to me that there was no conversation like that before they just decided, "Okay, let's do long distance and never know when it's gonna end, and, like, also know that it's probably not going to work out long term."
Yeah.
You know?
They
That
didn't
was
act like adults
yeah.
about it.
Yeah, I mean, Samantha was trying to be practical about it,
Yeah, she was.
by, like, not letting her get in that position in the first place, but after they decided that it was worth fighting for, I'm like, "Well, you're not really fighting for it, ultimately.
Mhm.
You're not fighting for it because you're not giving yourself an out. Like, you're
Mhm.
not trying to find a way out of this
Yeah.
situation."
You're just living in this middle
Yeah,
that's just
it's like purgatory.
purgatory, literally,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So that was, like, kinda like, I don't really understand that."
yeah. Back to Xavier's, like, family dynamic, I thought it was very okay, I thought it was funny about the tax auditing thing. I thought that was
Oh,
gonna come back around to be like, Xavier gets money or something.
yeah,
I don't know why.
that was funny.
But the phone call that he has with his mom, I thought that was going to be, like, some kinda closure moment where he gets to say the last word, and it wasn't. It just kinda sent him back down into his
Yeah,
childhood trauma, like, dark hole,
yeah.
which to me, where did that take us? You know what I mean?
I don't feel like we really ever closed the loop on his
We
plot
d
line.
we didn't, yeah. Even, like, involving his friends, like, his friends were
Yeah,
his family and
it felt half-baked.
yeah,
His plot line, I
yeah.
think, felt a little half-baked, undercooked.
And I get why, it's because we were never going to meet them really,
Yeah,
it was just his background and his childhood, but yeah. I see what it added to his character,
mhm.
and it did become very relevant in their relationship, but to bring it up again in the book, like that phone call, for example, um, I didn't see where that took us, like, I don't see where we gained from that.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree, I agree. I thought as I said, it didn't ever feel like full circle.
Yeah.
I mean, Samantha's did sort of, like, it did feel like it kind of concluded it, but it was him realizing that he had nothing to prove to them, but there wasn't you're right, there wasn't any closure.
Really, like, I'm thinking about the book in general, and he really just gave up everything just to be with Samantha. Like, he really did. Like, everything for him was still unknowns, to be honest.
Mhm.
But for her, she kind of got everything she wanted. She did get to stay with her mom full time. She didn't have
Mhm.
a job. Like,
Crazy.
and now Xavier was there. Like, she kind of did get everything she wanted. But Xavier, like, who who knows how he is? Like, who knows if he started his practice? Like, who
I
knows if
think
his
it
friends
says
come
that he
visit?
did. He works
Oh, he
for
did. He
another
did.
vet and then he opens
His own
another
practice.
location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just kind of, I don't know, but we didn't really get to see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was very much like kind of like Samantha's story.
Yeah, which I think is probably the
It's
point.
typical, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because even when we did get his POV, it was like, "Ugh, I'm working all the time."
Yeah.
It wasn't ever it didn't ever feel as deep. I didn't feel like I was learning as much.
Mm.
Um, except for, like, when he went to the diner and oh, yeah, and then there was randomly that girl that was, like, in love with him, his family
Oh,
friend.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Sometimes the little plot not plot holes, that's not what it is, but, like, these weird little plot drops that I'm like, "Wait, what?"
It's like a blip.
Yeah, yeah, and it
Mhm.
doesn't even cross my mind until after when I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
but
Anyway, it's kind of all I have to say on Xavier, I think.
yeah, agreed.
Maybe the story in general, I don't know. Any final thoughts? Are you still with your 3.5?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I stand by a 4, which is what I gave it on Goodreads. When I was hesitating earlier at the episode, I was like, maybe I want to give it a 4.5, so I did. But I
Well, that
stand by
was
my 4.
see, I gave it a 3, but I really do think that after processing more and the parallel lives thing, that deserves, like that part alone, 5 stars.
Yeah.
That was gorgeous.
For what I think this book was trying to accomplish, which is like that theme on like parallel lives, witnessing each other's lives, and the struggle that it is to like put effort into a relationship. I think she nailed it. I think
Mhm.
that it was beautiful in like a bittersweet way.
Yeah.
And like I currently am in a long distance relationship, so I related to that and it tugged on my heartstrings a lot. I'm like, thank God I'm not states away from my
And
boyfriend.
yeah,
Like that would be
heartbreaking.
heartbreaking. So to me, my I was constantly in a state of like
Yeah.
sympathy for these two
Mhm.
characters. So
I'd love to see if Madison could, like, relate to that a lot because she and John
yeah,
Michael seriously went, like, 3 months at a time without seeing each other sometimes.
yeah.
Um, I mean, and I don't know if you ever feel this way about long distance, but, like, one thing I as having personally gone through long distance that I didn't think that Samantha and Xavier ever came across was there are times where you, like, wonder to yourself if it's worth it.
Mm,
Where or at least for me, like, Nolan and I sometimes would have conversations where we would be like, "Hey, like, how's it going? Do we think that this like, what we have is is worth 4 years of long distance?" Like, we knew how long we had,
mhm.
5 years, right? Um, and because like, when it is hard, sometimes you get frustrated and you're like, "Gosh," like, not that I wanna give up, but it's easy to,
Mhm.
right? Sometimes the easy alternative is just to not do long distance, and they
Yeah.
never had that, you know?
Yeah.
It was kind of like they were always fully committed.
I think Samantha had like moments in the beginning where
Yeah,
she thought that.
but she was more trying to save herself up front
Mhm.
rather than in the moment, like, struggling with, "This is hard, like, should we keep doing it?" You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. That's hard too. I haven't gone there yet, thank goodness.
Well, I mean, I hope that you never do.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying that everybody does, it's just something that I noticed that
they didn't.
mhm,
I'll say like one last thing I guess I have to comment on is like financial troubles was a big part of the story too. But yeah, long distance relationships are pretty expensive because you're constantly traveling to see one or the
mhm.
other, right?
And that's practically an international flight. That's, like, gotta be at least a 5-hour, 6-hour flight.
Yeah.
Well, actually, yeah, I don't know.
Mhm.
That's a long flight, though.
Yeah, it is a long flight. So that was also kind of like it felt more realistic as a story, like
Mhm.
that wasn't being swept under the rug or anything.
Yeah,
And
I
like you
agree.
may be a vet, but like you're not rich. Like
Yeah.
you just graduated med school. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Mhm. I agree.
it's kind of like my last comment.
Yeah,
Any last words?
that's it.
Yeah,
I think I said my piece,
me too.
got out all my thoughts. I actually remembered a lot more than I thought I did. I think that by the end I was just like so heartbroken because of that book. Like it was just a lot emotionally.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to remember all of the nuances to the plot.
Yeah.
Um,
I wasn't expecting it to be such a deep romance.
yeah, kind of a downer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it's a bittersweet, tugging on your heartstrings kind of romance, which
Mhm.
I understand if people don't like that. Like that's why I'm like I understand you gave it 3.5 stars. Like this was not a fun book to read. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
But it was a romance novel.
It definitely was.
Yeah.
Definitely was.
Like this was still a tale about romance.
Mhm.
So yeah.
But overall, like I liked it. It's not a reread for me. I probably won't reread it ever. But I think that, as you said, she accomplished what she set out to do, and I think she did a decently good job of it
Hmm.
overall.
Yeah.
Just wasn't my personal cup of tea in all ways.
That's okay.
But I think that the parallel lives thing, that might be one of the best, like, that might be one of the best romance things I've ever read.
Yeah.
So, one thing that I did want to say though, she, in one of her interviews, she said that she wrote um, that scene in the grocery store, in a line
In
at
the
the
line at the
grocery
grocery
store.
store.
Yeah, I thought that
Yeah.
was really cute.
Yeah. She like writes on her phone.
Yeah, I saw that video too. Well, that makes sense. We literally share the same Instagram, so
We do
uh,
be looking at the same thing.
yeah,
But
we get a lot of Benson Boone reels recently. Have you noticed that
no.
on Instagram? Oh,
You like things on our Instagram, TikTok, and Instagram,
I try to like book related things.
and on like our YouTube, like you be watching weird things, like
Well,
Sabrina Carpenter like shorts.
I forget that I'm like logged in on our.
I know.
But then also, you know how when you're like just scrolling on your home feed, and if you literally stop for 2 seconds on a video, it like says that you watched it.
No.
Yeah. So if I stop on like when it has a little group of 4 shorts and it's like Sabrina Carpenter in the top left, I'm like, oh, she looks cute. If I stay there for more than like 1 or 2 seconds, it says that I watched it.
Oh.
So most of the time, I'm not actually watching any of these things
Oh.
unless it's like,
I was like, you're pretty active on YouTube.
no, 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 not really.
Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
This was a fun episode.
Yeah. This was a deep episode, I
Yeah.
feel. Um, yeah.
But I'm Madeline.
And I'm Hannah.
We're Check This Book Out podcast.
And we are here every single Tuesday. Or every day on social media,
Yeah,
on
pretty much.
Instagram
Mm-hmm.
and TikTok. So, in threads.
Yeah, I haven't been doing much on there recently.
But yeah, come follow us along on there. We post some good content.
Yeah.
And meet us back here next
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
We are talking about.
We have a very much a contrast to this episode. It's going to be pretty lighthearted. We're doing a kind of explore the different phases of the Bookout Sisters reading life.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
taking it all the way back to kindergarten to current day, our book phases,
Yeah.
our journey.
If y'all have read any of our like podcast descriptions or been here since episode 1, like y'all know we've been readers for life.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a juicy episode.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. I'm excited to think about how I got here.
Yeah, no, really.
Yeah. It's about the journey.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What was that Katy Perry thing that Andrew said
Oh
yesterday?
no, it was a Miley.
Cyrus. What was it?
It's about the journey. Like I don't know. He did it much better than me. She sounds like she smokes like 10 packs a day.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm excited for that episode.
Yeah.
We will see you next week.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining.
Bye.